Let's look at the limitations of internal controls. So the internal control system can only provide directors with reasonable assurance that their objectives are achieved, but the inherent limitations, something inherent is something that can't be avoided. So the first one we have is potential for human error. You know, errors are meant to happen, like even when you're careful, as I can't explain. Like even though you're so careful, like errors will still be there. So there is potential for human error. So human error includes misunderstandings of instructions, then mistakes of judgment or fatigue. Like when someone is tired, they can easily make a mistake. When someone didn't understand the instructions very well, there is a possibility of them making an error. Uh, Another limitation is collusion between employees. Like employees can decide to come together and they plot against the company. Yeah, the segregation of duties can become weighted by collusion of two or more employees. Like the main reason as to why they segregate duties is to prevent fraud. But those different people can decide to come together so that they can plot against the company. For example, a personnel officer may collide with a chief finance officer to add ghost workers on the payroll that do not exist. So you segregated duties, but those two people can decide to just work together so that they can all benefit. Another limitation is the possibility of controls being bypassed or overridden by management, because when those policies and procedures are put in place, like most of the times management have a say over those policies and controls that were put in place. Like they can tell you that the customer's credit limit is maybe 1 million, but the manager can like instruct and they be like you give them even though their credit limit is above 1M. So it's something like the boss has said. Yeah, so the controls may be overridden by management. Then another limitation is that the cost of controls not overweighing their benefits, because if you're going to put a control in place, for example preventive control or a detective control, like its benefit should be higher than its cost. Yeah, but if its cost is higher than its benefit, then the company will not benefit. So the cost of control may overweigh their benefits. Yeah, controls whose costs exceed benefits may not be applied. Yeah. For example, when a control is needed to detect fraud in a particular transaction, but that control is expensive, it will instead not be implemented. Yeah. Then the last limitation is controls being designed to cope with routine and not non-routine transactions, because most controls are automated and something that is automated is designed to cope with routine. So anything that is out of routine will not be handled by that particular control. So they may not be able to detect fraud, because fraud is not something that is routine. Due to these inherent limitations, the test of controls cannot be used alone by an auditor to collect audit evidence. So the auditor has to perform further audit procedures, which is the substantive procedures.